Be a better friend to Meri?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, if there's anything that I can fix with her, I want to fix it. So, but like it has to, like, I feel the same way that she's not reciprocating it either. So I'm kind of like, I think it's just a matter of the both of us kind of really putting the same kind of effort in. And it hasn't been the same. So, yeah.
In that clip with Robyn, it's like, okay, you are having this pain about me leaving. That's a you thing. That's yours to carry. That's not mine. And I think for a lot of times, a lot of years, I was trying to take the blame. I was trying to, well, it's my fault. I need to fix it. And I needed to really learn to let that go.
It feels very icy right here.
It's just because, like, I don't feel icy. I just don't feel like it's there, which is really just, it's unfortunate, but it's just not there.
Welcome to Chroma Celebs. I'm Rose, bringing you the latest shocking updates on Sister Wives. Unexpected twists, emotional moments, and unbelievable drama. Stay tuned till the end. In the long and winding journey that has been the foundation of Sister Wives, few moments have been as defining as the ones that center around Kody Brown and Robyn Brown's ever-shifting position on the topic of polygamy. Once the ultimate poster family for plural marriage in modern America, the Browns were known not just for their unconventional marital structure but for the boldness with which they chose to share it with the world. But years later, the fractures that began to show within the family have turned into gaping rifts. Now, in an emotional and telling development, Kody and Robyn Brown have opened up about whether they would ever go back to polygamy, a question that's been on the minds of fans for a long time. Once staunch defenders of the polygamous lifestyle, Kody and Robyn have finally made their most candid remarks yet about whether they still believe in it, want it, or even think it's a viable path for them anymore. Their reflections not only reveal how much they've changed, but also how deeply the fallout from the dissolution of their plural family has scarred them. In the wake of Meri, Janelle, and Christine leaving one by one, viewers have watched a crumbling household slowly center itself around a single remaining couple, Kody and Robyn. In the early days of Sister Wives, Kody was the ultimate polygamist in the eyes of viewers. Enthusiastic, idealistic, and convinced that plural marriage was not only spiritually correct but emotionally fulfilling, he envisioned a unified family in which multiple wives could support one another and share responsibilities. Robyn, who came in as the fourth wife in 2010, was welcomed as the newest addition to a structure that already had decades of complexity behind it. At the time, her inclusion was seen as both a spiritual match and a reinforcement of the lifestyle. Kody and Robyn, both appearing deeply invested in the ideals of their shared faith and the lifestyle it demanded, seemed to believe they were living out a sacred principle. However, what followed in the years after her arrival gradually undid everything the Brown family had stood for. Tensions began to rise between Robyn and the other wives, some accusing her of being favored, others questioning her motives. And as the emotional support and intimacy within the larger family unit began to fray, so too did the collective commitment to polygamy. Christine was the first to go, breaking away in what would later become one of the most pivotal moments in the series' timeline. Her departure was not only a personal decision but also a symbolic collapse of the idealized vision Kody had spent years cultivating. In light of everything, fans have been wondering, what do Kody and Robyn really think about polygamy now? The answers came during a recent sit-down, part of an exclusive behind-the-scenes special filmed after the latest season's dramatic events. With tears, emotion, and no attempt to gloss over the pain, both Kody and Robyn opened up in rare honesty about how their beliefs have shifted. Kody, looking noticeably older and wearier than the enthusiastic father-husband viewers met over a decade ago, said that he still believes polygamy can be a beautiful thing, but no longer believes he is capable of living it. He acknowledged that his view had once been idealistic and, in hindsight, even naive. The emotional toll of trying to navigate the feelings and expectations of four women, each with their own needs, personalities, and wounds, had exhausted him. More importantly, he admitted that the dissolution of his marriages with Meri, Janelle, and Christine had left him questioning not only his approach but the entire concept of plural marriage. He lamented the broken relationships with his children, the missteps in communication, and the unresolved resentments that had festered for years. "I thought we could be different. I thought we could be the ones who made it work. But I was wrong, Kody said, voice breaking. It cost me so much. It cost all of us. Robyn, usually quieter and more restrained when it comes to such deeply personal topics, spoke next. What she said may have surprised even the most devoted fans. She expressed sorrow that the family had fallen apart and insisted that when she joined the Browns, she truly believed in the lifestyle. She wasn't seeking monogamy, she said. In fact, she had specifically hoped for sisterhood and community among the wives. But reality hit hard. The conflict, the jealousy, the emotional gaps between the wives, and especially the way she was treated, alternately as a favorite or as an outsider, ultimately wore down her hope. Robyn admitted she feels a deep sense of loss that plural marriage didn't work out. She said she mourns the life she thought she was building. But when asked point-blank if she and Kody would ever try polygamy again, she paused, then gave a definitive answer. I don't see how we could. Not after everything. I don't think I could put myself through that again. I don't think Kody could either. This moment was profound. For years, the couple had clung to the hope that the family could be restored or at least preserved in some way. Now, even Robyn was letting go of that hope. She still respects the spiritual principle, she said, and she doesn't reject the idea in theory. But when it comes to her life and the emotional and relational damage she has witnessed firsthand, she's no longer willing to return to that way of living. What makes their confession even more compelling is the sense that both Kody and Robyn are struggling with the implications of their choices. Kody has, in many ways, become the symbol of failed polygamy. Once a man with 4 wives, over a dozen children, and a dream of unity, he is now the head of a family that exists more in name than in substance. His relationships with many of his older children are strained, particularly with those from his previous marriages. He often refers to regrets, not just about how things ended, but about how he handled them while they were still ongoing. Robyn, meanwhile, is dealing with a very different kind of burden. She now lives in what is essentially a monogamous relationship, though she never wanted one. She often remarks that she didn't sign up for this, and there's a lingering sense of guilt in her words, as though she somehow feels responsible for the demise of the greater family. This guilt is exacerbated by the public perception of her as the favorite, a label she has always denied but one that persists among many viewers. Both Kody and Robyn seem to understand that returning to polygamy now would not just be emotionally dangerous, it would be fundamentally dishonest. They no longer possess the unity, the trust, or the infrastructure required for such a complex family structure. More than that, they no longer believe they have the emotional resilience to endure what polygamy demands. As they spoke about the possibility of a new wife, Kody flatly rejected the idea. I can't love like that again, he said. I don't have the heart for it. Robyn nodded in agreement, her eyes misty. We're not what we used to be. We're tired. We're healing. And we just want peace now. Their responses have left fans with a lot to process. For some, it's a relief to see Kody and Robyn finally speak the truth of their experience without the filter of idealism. For others, it marks the end of an era, the final nail in the coffin of what Sister Wives once stood for. While the show continues to document the aftermath and the personal evolutions of its cast members, the foundational dream that launched it has now been undeniably declared dead. And yet, there is something deeply human in their admissions. The willingness to say, I was wrong, or this no longer works for me, is rare in any public figure, let alone ones who have built an entire persona around a controversial and often misunderstood lifestyle. In choosing to speak this truth, Kody and Robyn are not only letting go of polygamy, they're letting go of an identity. The emotional impact of this decision will be felt for seasons to come. It has redefined the legacy of Sister Wives, not as a show about the triumph of plural marriage, but as a chronicle of its unraveling. And in that unraveling, viewers have found something arguably even more powerful: raw honesty, painful growth, and the slow, imperfect road toward healing. Kody and Robyn may not return to polygamy, but their story continues. Whether or not fans agree with their choices, one thing is clear: they are no longer living for anyone else's ideal. They are, finally, facing the reality of who they are now and what they can no longer be. And that, perhaps, is the most honest chapter yet in the ever-evolving saga of the Brown family. The once cohesive fabric of the Brown family, which once prided itself on religious unity and familial solidarity, continues to fray as more revelations surface in the aftermath of the sister wives' unraveling. One of the most riveting developments in recent memory stems from a startling question posed by none other than Christine Brown. After years of emotional strain and watching the family dynamic crumble under pressure, Christine has now dared to voice a thought that many fans have long suspected but never heard from a wife herself. Her question wasn't just deeply personal, it struck at the core of the family's moral values. Christine openly wondered whether Kody and Robyn Brown, the woman who eventually became his fourth and final wife, may have been intimate before they were officially married. This suggestion has ignited a storm of speculation not just among viewers but within the Sister Wives universe itself. The Brown family, built on principles of religious observance and plural marriage under the tenets of fundamentalist Mormonism, always presented themselves as upholding strong values, chief among them being chastity before marriage. Kody Brown, throughout the years, has been adamant about the rules of courtship, emphasizing the need for emotional purity and religious obedience. The notion that he might have broken those very rules with Robyn, rules he seemed to rigidly impose on others, reeks of a double standard that Christine can no longer ignore. Christine's doubts didn't come from nowhere. They were seeded in years of watching how Kody treated Robyn differently from his other wives. When Robyn first entered the picture, Christine admitted to struggling with jealousy, a deeply human emotion made even more complicated by the family's polygamous structure. She tried to suppress those feelings, convince herself of Kody's fairness, and believe in the family mission. But over time, the favoritism Kody showed Robyn wasn't subtle anymore, it was glaring. From the private conversations to the way he deferred to her needs, Christine, like Meri and Janelle, felt increasingly like an outsider in her own marriage. What set Christine off and made her question the timeline of Kody and Robyn's relationship? She has said in recent tell-alls and interviews that her decision to leave wasn't made overnight. It was a slow-burning fire fueled by years of being overlooked, emotionally abandoned, and witnessing the stark contrast in Kody's treatment of his wives. But one detail stood out more than the rest. Christine recalled how swiftly and deeply Kody seemed connected to Robyn, right from the start. The kind of connection that didn't feel like innocent courtship. It felt like something more intense, more developed, and more physically bonded. Kody had often claimed that the process of bringing Robyn into the family was respectful and within the boundaries of their beliefs. He even made a show of sleeping on the couch when visiting Robyn during their courtship to prove he wasn't crossing any lines. But Christine's gut has always told her that the story might not be so clean. Her recent remarks suggest she's now ready to publicly challenge that version of events. She said that while she tried to believe in Kody's honesty, too many things didn't add up, and now that she's removed from the relationship and living with a new sense of clarity, it's hard not to reevaluate everything through a new lens. Christine's questioning comes with weight not just because of what she suspects, but because of how much she sacrificed to uphold the family's values. As the third wife, she raised children in a chaotic and often unfair system, constantly working to balance her emotions, her spiritual identity, and the needs of her family. She fought hard to feel seen and valued. She tried to make her marriage to Kody work, even when the affection dried up and communication became sparse. She always took the moral code seriously. To now suspect that Kody may not have held himself to those same standards is more than a betrayal. It feels like a foundational crack in everything she believed about their spiritual mission. Robyn has always been a polarizing figure among fans. She entered the family later but quickly seemed to take center stage. Critics argue that her arrival marked the beginning of the end for the Brown family's unity. Her tearful confessionals and constant emphasis on fairness seemed at odds with the reality others were experiencing. For Christine, Robyn's presence represented a painful shift. While Robyn claimed to be supportive of the other wives, her actions often led to further division. Kody's unwavering loyalty to Robyn further isolated the others, creating a rift that eventually proved irreparable. If Kody and Robyn were intimate before marriage, the implications go beyond just moral hypocrisy. It casts a new light on every interaction, every moment of supposed piety. It means Kody broke the very rules he used to keep others in check. It would confirm what many have long felt, that the rules only applied when convenient, and that the entire spiritual framework was used selectively. It would validate Christine's long-held sense that something was always off, that the love story between Kody and Robyn wasn't built the same way as the others. Kody has yet to address Christine's suspicions directly, but his past behavior suggests he won't take kindly to the suggestion. He has often been quick to defend Robyn, even when that defense comes at the cost of his relationships with his other wives or his children. In the past, he's lashed out at those who challenge the narrative he wants to uphold. Christine's boldness in raising this question threatens to unravel the story he's clung to for years. It turns the spotlight on the very roots of his last remaining marriage and demands answers. The fans of Sister Wives have long speculated about the timeline of Kody and Robyn's relationship. Some believe there are clues in old episodes, lingering looks, overly intimate gestures, or comments that don't quite align with the official story. The notion that there was more going on behind the scenes has been floating around the fanbase for years. Christine voicing it aloud gives those suspicions new weight. She isn't just a distant observer, she lived it. She was part of the system, subjected to the rules and expected to conform. Her questioning adds a layer of authenticity that can't be dismissed as mere jealousy or rumor. In recent months, Christine has embraced a new life with her husband David Woolley. She's finally found the love and partnership she longed for in her marriage to Kody. Her joy is evident in her social media posts, her interviews, and the light in her eyes. But even in this new chapter, the scars of her past linger. She's not trying to hurt anyone, but she refuses to be silenced any longer. By raising the question of Kody and Robyn's premarital intimacy, she's reclaiming her voice and demanding a level of transparency that was never granted to her while she was in the marriage. The fallout from Christine's statement is far from over. Robyn has yet to respond, but her reaction when it comes will speak volumes. Will she deny it outright? Will she dodge the question? Or will she finally acknowledge that her relationship with Kody broke the mold in more ways than one? For years, Robyn has claimed to feel misunderstood by the public and mistreated by her sister wives. But if Christine's suspicions prove true, it would shift the narrative drastically, painting Robyn not as a victim, but as a knowing participant in the undoing of the Brown family structure. The idea of Kody and Robyn crossing physical boundaries before marriage also challenges the public image they worked so hard to craft. Their story was supposed to be about love, faith, and spiritual purpose. If it was actually rooted in secrecy and selective rule-breaking, what does that say about the future of their marriage? What does it say about the lessons their children were supposed to learn from watching their parents? What does it say about the integrity of Kody's leadership as a spiritual head of the family? Christine's willingness to question Kody and Robyn's history marks a powerful turning point in the Sister Wives saga. It's not just gossip. It's a moment of reckoning. It's a demand for honesty in a story that has too often relied on half-truths and image management. Christine is no longer playing along. She's done pretending. She's embracing the truth, even if it's messy, even if it's painful. And in doing so, she's paving the way for others to do the same. As this new wave of revelations unfolds, the Brown family is once again in the spotlight. But this time, it's not about adding wives or moving homes. It's about confronting the past with clear eyes and open hearts. Christine's question may never be answered directly, but it has already changed the conversation. It's a reminder that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how long it's been buried. And when it does, it can't be ignored. In the end, Christine's story is about liberation, not just from a marriage that no longer served her, but from a belief system that asked too much and gave too little. She's rewriting her narrative in real time, and fans are watching with admiration, curiosity, and newfound respect. Whether or not Kody and Robyn ever admit to what Christine suspects, one thing is certain: the silence is broken. And once truth has a voice, it doesn't go back into hiding. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe our channel. Thank you.